Hey guys, it's Mike, and I'm back from my pretty pretty long summer break. But it's good to be back making videos. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to draw your characters in a scene. So something like this picture you see here. So the first part of the video, I'll be talking about the basic principles, the basic things that I think about when I'm drawing a character or drawing characters in this perspective. And then the second part, I'll be doing a demo of drawing this particular drawing. Okay, so let's get started. So for this drawing and all these drawings, I'll be drawing the horizon line very near to the top. And because it's a high horizon, it means that we are, I guess, looking down a little bit on the characters. And for all the characters, I'm going to be drawing their heads right on the horizon. So this guy, I'm using an oval. The horizon is cutting his head in half. And now all I'm going to do is draw his body in proportion to his head. And I'm going to keep his right shoulder a little lower than his left shoulder because he's going to be looking towards the right. And here I'm drawing two lines on the sides, angled slightly in because we're looking down on this character ever so slightly. And now for the guy in the background, for these drawings, I'm assuming that these characters are the same height. So because they're the same height, we can draw their heads all on the horizon. So just like before, drawing his head on the horizon, much smaller than the guy on the left. Drawing his shoulders. And I'm using just basic, very basic shapes to symbolize these characters as they are standing in the background. So it's just a circle, a neck, and a very boxy shape for the body. And so you can already start to see the scene taking shape. The guy on the left is closer to us. The guy on the right is further away from us. And usually I'll draw just these shapes to position my characters. But if you want, you can also add in perspective lines to help you see the perspective better. So here I'm drawing the shoulder line. And the thing that I think about is these are horizontal lines to the ground. So the closer it is to the horizon, the more horizontal they'll want to become. Like right here. That one is almost horizontal, but as it goes away from the horizon, the lines become more angled, like the guy on the left. His shoulder line is a lot more angled. And here, his bottom of his ribs is going to be more angled than the line above it for the guy on the left. And usually when I think about placing characters in shots, I think about the characters first. Like I don't put down perspective lines on the ground first because I don't know, it feels too restrictive to me, too academic or something. And I like to think about just positioning the characters. And then if I want, I can put the perspective down to help me after that. So all you have to do to put the perspective down is line up the same parts on each of the characters. So like shoulder to shoulder, neck to neck, and draw a line between them all the way to the horizon. And if everything works out, they should all line up just like that. And with the perspective lines, remember, as the lines get closer to the horizon, the space between each of the lines gets smaller and smaller. And as the lines get further away from the horizon, the gaps get wider and wider. I mean, it's just like I call it eyeball perspective. It's not precise, but it gives me the effect that I'm after of, okay, these lines are pretty much in perspective. And curving them. Remember to curve the lines like happy faces, like we talked about in the video of drawing characters in a down shot, because the view is slightly down. So here is the second drawing, and I'm going to show you guys that how easy it is to just use these simple shapes to move your characters around. So I'm going to draw the horizon again, draw the head, but this time the character is going to be positioned more towards the center. So just a circle, a neck, shoulders, and two lines at the side, and he's positioned. And to position this guy in the back, I'll do the same thing. The head much smaller, and I'm just focusing on drawing his body in proportion to that head. And you can see that characters are in the scene. And maybe you can stop here. You can compare it to the first drawing that you did or other drawings that you've done and see what you like. And so here I'll show you guys the perspective for this shot because he's not facing to the right as much as he was in the previous drawing, his shoulder line is not as angled as it was before. But I'm still going to follow that principle of, as these horizontal lines get further from the horizon, the angle will increase. And so for the perspective on the ground, just line up similar body parts. Oh, made a mistake there. Had to erase. That's okay. And you get that effect. So you can take, I guess when you're laying out your characters, you can take it as far as you want. You can maybe just use the simple silhouette of a character. And if you can see the position, that's great. You can decide if you like that or not. Or you can add in perspective to the shape. And even like here, I'm going to add in arms just to get a better feel for the scene. So what I'm thinking for this scene is it's a meeting of heroes and they've got 2 swords. Well, this guy is going to have 2 swords and the character in the front is going to have 1 sword. So maybe it's the classic debate of which sword is better. I mean, which style is better? 1 sword or dual wielding? So I don't know. What do you guys think? 1 sword, 2 swords? Personally, I would rather have 1 sword, more power. How about you guys? Leave a comment. Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys one more variation. So now I'm going to draw this character on the left side, and I'm going to draw his full body, so you can also just position them so you can see both characters and their full body. So his right shoulder is lower than the left because he's facing towards the right side. Actually, there's going to be one more drawing after this. But I wanted to show you guys that you don't always have to draw one character close. You can draw them further away like you see here. Just trying to match up his waistline between the angles of the shoulder and his feet. And now I'm going to place another guy on the right. Smaller head right on the horizon. And all I'm thinking about is trying to draw his body shape in proportion to his head. And I mean, sometimes you'll make mistakes, sometimes you won't draw it in proportion, but you can always just make fixes later. And that's really easy to do because you haven't really drawn that many lines. It's really easy to change. You can erase it or just draw over what you've already done. So drawing in some perspective. And you can see that this is very, very different than the previous shots we've had. The camera is further away. And you can better see 2 of the characters who are discussing swords. Okay, so for this final drawing, before I do the demo, I'm going to position them on the left side. This guy's facing towards the right. So his right shoulder is lower than the left. His right foot is lower than the left one. He's talking to this guy in the back, head on the horizon, body in proportion to his head. And so they are pretty far away from us, right? But this principle of putting the heads on the horizon works even when you draw a character that is super close to us, like right in front of the camera. So maybe there's a third guy right here. He's got a big head. Horizon is cutting his head in half, and he wants to take part in this conversation too. Maybe he just walked into the scene. I don't know. But you see, I've drawn the head pretty big, and to the best of my ability, tried to draw his body in proportion to his head. And you can see that he fits within this scene. So here the same principle applied to a guy that is further away from the guys that we've already drawn. Head on the horizon. And just drawing his body in proportion to his head. So you can draw guys that are close. You can draw guys that are far. You can position them on the left side, on the right side, depending on what kind of scene you're after. So here I've sort of gone into a time lapse just to show you guys all these principles applied in this scene of meeting of heroes. So the idea that I'm doing here is 2 heroes are meeting. Maybe they're about to fight, or maybe they are going to form an alliance. I don't know. but I'm using just as simple shapes as I can at first, just to block in these characters and position them. And so my idea is that, okay, behind this guy on the right, maybe he's like the captain of an army. He's got his bodyguards. So I'm thinking 3 at first. And I'm going to try and position this character's sword and see if I like it. Making just some little adjustments. This guy on the right, this captain of the army, is going to have his dual swords. And I'm thinking, okay, after doing those lines and positioning stuff, I want to add one more guard, so I put that guy in. And so you can see that I've only used very simple shapes, right? I mean, it's just boxes and ovals, and tried to keep it very loose so I can see the positions of characters and if it's the correct feeling that I'm after. And I'm liking how it's looking, so I'm gonna continue. And since we're in the topic of adding characters, why not add even more characters? So I'm just adding guys in the background, just following our guideline of putting the heads on the horizon, and I'm stopping their feet not too far from the horizon, keeps them small. And I want the line of the crowd to be sort of like a curve back there. So maybe, I mean, I don't know, it could be villagers, it could be maybe soldiers in the captain's army, I'm not sure. But I guess the idea with this method is that you want to use the least amount of time and energy to place your characters, because you don't want to be spending, like for instance, if I started this drawing by drawing all this detail like I'm doing here, and then later I figure out, you know what, I want to move her to the left, and you're just like, I don't want to erase that. You're like, oh, this drawing looks good, I don't want to erase it, and it's like a lose-lose situation, right? You don't quite like the position, but you don't want to erase it. So to avoid that, I've learned that when you start your drawing, start as roughly and as loosely as you can so that you can erase stuff. And when you move stuff around, it doesn't hurt your soul like it would if you did a finished drawing. And then you can work out all the problems as far as the positions of your characters at that stage. And you can move stuff around, because if you don't like it at that stage, when all you have is boxes, if you can't solve the staging problem then even if you add in all the detail at the end, it's not going to make a strong drawing. So my thinking is that focus first on making sure that the composition, the staging of your characters, where they're positioned, make sure you like that first. And then once that's solved, then it's like awesome. You just add in all the detail, and you can sort of just rest in knowing that the camera is where you want it, the characters are standing where you want them to, and you can just have fun focusing on the details. So here I'm just trying to add in the details, and you can see that I've got the guards standing behind the captain, and in the background, because they're not really important to the scene, I'm not really adding in that much detail. And so hopefully guys, this just gave you sort of just maybe some ideas that you could apply to your drawings and your scenes. For it could be an illustration or maybe scenes in your manga. I don't know if this is the correct way to do things, but I've found it helpful just in my daily work and when I do stuff, whenever I create scenes for characters. So let me know what you guys think about this, and if you find it helpful, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, because I can show you guys different views, you know, mid horizon, low horizon, even what happens when the horizon is above or below the frame. And just there's so much stuff to learn, and I think it's really cool. So if you guys want to see more, let me know. Or if you have any ideas for other videos, be sure to leave a comment. And I just want to give a big shout out to just all the subscribers that have joined the channel since I've last posted. I think it's maybe close to 10,000 of you. So just a big welcome to my channel, and I'm back from break, my unofficial summer break, and I'll be bringing you guys a lot more videos, a lot more often. So you can always message me. I'm a lot more available now. If you have any questions, you have any ideas for tutorials, And that's about it. So hope you guys have been having a great summer. It's almost done. But with that, I will see you guys next time, and have fun with your drawing and take it easy.